You.
You
Thank you so much, Lou, for your kind words. We're going to be doing our travel show of our lunch club. I really appreciate everyone joining. We're going to honor Juneteenth today. It is Friday, so happy Juneteenth. Most businesses, organizations will be closed, but make sure you go out and celebrate Juneteenth. Today, in honor of that, we're going to be looking at DC's connection to Juneteenth in different ways that you may not have heard of before by the people, by the events. And I learned so much every time we create our travel shows together. So, Lou, thanks so much for hosting with me, and please take it away.
Oh, thanks, Alex, and thanks to all our seniors for joining today. Yeah, it is a very special week and a very special day coming up on Friday with Juneteenth, and it gives us also a nice 3-day weekend and a sunny, almost summer afternoon. So, from emancipation to celebration, DC's connection to Juneteenth. Let's take it away.
So, first, we have to learn what it is.
So, what is Juneteenth? Well, it's celebrated on June 19th, which is this Friday. It marks the end of slavery in the United States. It commemorates freedom reaching Texas in 1865, and it became a federal holiday in 2021.
Later on, we'll learn when it became a city holiday. So, you may not have known that. So, please look forward to that and some additional information. We're going to take a look at Juneteenth, what it is, and why it is important from this very cool TED Ed video. If you've seen it before, hope you enjoy it once again. We shout for joy that we live to record this righteous decree. Frederick Douglass. Right here in DC, we know about Frederick Douglass.
One day, while hiding in the kitchen, Charlotte Brooks overheard a life-changing secret. At the age of 17, she'd been separated from her family and taken to William Nealon's Texas plantation. There, she was made to do housework at the violent whims of her enslavers. On that fateful day, she learned that slavery had recently been abolished, but Nealon conspired to keep this a secret from those he enslaved. Hearing this, Brooks stepped out of her hiding spot, proclaimed her freedom, spread the news throughout the plantation, and ran. That night, she returned for her daughter, Tempe. And before Nealon's spiteful bullets could find them, they were gone for good.
Make sure you go to the screen share, and but I am able to hear on my other device.
I hear you now.
All righty.
For more than 2 centuries, slavery defined what would become the United States. From its past as the 13 British colonies to its growth as an independent country. Slavery fueled its cotton industry and made it a leading economic power. 10 of the first 12 presidents enslaved people. And when U.S. chattel slavery finally ended, it was a long and uneven process.
The first 10 out of 12.
Enslaved people resisted from the beginning by escaping, breaking tools, staging rebellions, and more. During the American Revolution, Vermont and Massachusetts abolished slavery, while several states took steps towards gradual abolition. In 1808, federal law banned the import of enslaved African people, but it allowed the slave trade to continue domestically. Approximately 4 million people were enslaved in the U.S. when Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Lincoln opposed slavery, and though he had no plans to outlaw it, his election caused panic in southern states, which began withdrawing from the Union. They vowed to uphold slavery and formed the Confederacy, triggering the start of the American Civil War.
Again, the Civil War is not about money, it's not about plantations or it's about slavery. That's what it is at the end of the day.
A year into the conflict, Lincoln abolished slavery in Washington, D.C., legally freeing more than 3,000 people. And 5 months later, he announced the Emancipation Proclamation.
D.C., months before the Emancipation Proclamation. So you will see that impact in our session today.
It promised freedom to the 3.5 million people enslaved in Confederate states. But it would only be fulfilled if the rebelling states didn't rejoin the Union by January 1st, 1863. and it bore no mention of the roughly 500,000 people in bondage in the border states of Delaware, Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri that hadn't seceded. When the Confederacy refused to surrender, Union soldiers began announcing emancipation. But many southern areas remained under Confederate control, making it impossible to actually implement abolition throughout the South. The war raged on for 2 more years, and on January 31st, 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment. It promised to end slavery throughout the U.S., except as punishment for a crime. But to go into effect, 27 states would have to ratify it first. Meanwhile, the Civil War virtually ended with the surrender of Confederate General Robert E. Lee on April 9, 1865. But although slavery was technically illegal in all southern states, it still persisted in the last bastions of the Confederacy. There, enslavers like Kneeling continued to evade abolition until forced. This was also the case when Union General Gordon Granger marched his troops into Galveston, Texas on June 19th and announced that all enslaved people there were officially free and had been for more than 2 years.
More than 2
Wow.
years.
Wow.
Still, at this point, people remained legally enslaved in the border states. It wasn't until more than 5 months later, on December 6, 1865, that the 13th Amendment was finally ratified. This formally ended chattel slavery in the U.S. Because official emancipation was a staggered process, people in different places commemorated it on different dates.
Yep, Ohio, September 22nd, 1862, DC, April 16th, 1862, Tennessee, August 8th, 1863. All because they were not all free at the same time.
Those in Galveston, Texas, began celebrating Juneteenth, a combination of June and 19th, on the very first anniversary of General Granger's announcement. Over time, smaller Juneteenth gatherings gave way to large parades, and the tradition eventually became the most widespread of emancipation celebrations. But while chattel slavery had officially ended, racial inequality, oppression, and terror had not. Celebrating emancipation was itself an act of continued resistance, and it wasn't until 2021 that Juneteenth became a federal holiday. Today, Juneteenth holds profound significance as a celebration of the demise of slavery, the righteous pursuit of true freedom for all, and a continued pledge to remember the past and dream the future.
Any thoughts on the videos from anyone? Any thoughts? Again, there's that history. I really liked how they kind of summarized everything, but also gave us a lot of great details. Any thoughts on the video?
It was well done, a good combination of information and telling the whole story.
And it's that bit about the 2 years, some folks are free and some weren't at different points. That is something else, isn't it? All right. So that was our first video for today. I hope y'all enjoyed. So Lou, please take it away.
Sure. So, Road to Freedom. Slavery existed in America for over 200 years. The Civil War began in 1861. Freedom came in stages, not all at once.
What do you think of that? Not all at once. Freedom came in stages, not all at once. Lou, Geraldine, anyone? What do you think of that from the video? But also this, freedom came in stages, not all at once.
Not all at one time. Yeah. Step by step. Yeah, you had Jim Crow afterwards, and you had various things going on. So freedom didn't happen all at one time.
Some states didn't want to hear it.
I was going to say, was it because they didn't want to accept it? As far as
That's what it was. Some states just didn't want to hear it.
Yes, those especially on the borders and some of those real deep Confederate states. They, were holding on for dear life to be able to, keep people enslaved.
So
It said the border states it was legal for longer after that. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
500,000.
was that like Maryland? Then was
Yeah.
Maryland?
Yeah.
That
that was
was
a
one of
border
them.
state.
Maryland,
Missouri.
Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the last ones to free their slaves.
as well.
Texas.
Yes.
But they said the slaves resisted. Did you hear that?
what you mean resist? I just came on seeing the movie.
Some
Yeah, they resisted.
back in history, there were a few rebellions
Yeah,
of slaves
Hmm.
against their master. Well, Nat Turner was the most famous, but he that rebellion wasn't the only one. There were a lot of rebellions against slavery where
Oh,
it creates riots and a lot of slaves were killed during that time. But they had enough. Sometimes you just have enough.
yeah.
yeah.
Right. But in the beginning of the video, that's where the girl overheard the person saying that, they were free. And she ran for it. And
Mm-hmm,
that's because
mm-hmm.
again, that's what they mean by the stages, because that decree of slavery ending did not go all the way, it wasn't all at once. It wasn't just everyone wasn't all free at once. Do you think everyone should have been free all at once?
Well, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around like what does it mean when okay, now you're free. So you have nothing. You have no food, you have no land, you have it's like, whoa, what
You have no job. You know,
no
no way of earning money.
You didn't get your 40 acres and a mule, that's for sure.
yeah, like how do you wrap your mind around that?
But
Well,
Texas was 2 years.
they did what they well actually being at some of my sites again learning about soul food, when slave they couldn't raise a lot of things, but they could raise chickens, and that they used the eggs and parts of the chicken to actually pay for their own freedoms and their significant others freedoms as well. So after, they were free, they, just like they had to start from scratch, just like the folks here in DC when we learned about that disenfranchisement and those forced movements in Southwest, they had to also start from kind of nothing and just build up. But that goes to show how resilient and how strong our community is, right? You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
we've always had to turn lemons into lemonade.
Yes.
And that one makes us strong.
Yes. Yes.
I,
I like the way you say we. You said we. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Makes
we.
us strong.
We. That's us. Yeah.
This DC pride again. We learned DC. Black pride was with the first mostly black population in the whole country, and that we this is what we're all about.
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate City.
Yes, sir. So, Lou, look at
sorry,
this.
sorry. Yeah, I'm looking up something here.
No, no, look
Yeah,
at our title.
yeah. So DC leads the way. April
Okay.
16, 1862. Slavery ends in DC. Nearly 3,100 people were freed. Occurred before the Emancipation Proclamation. Today, celebrated in DC on April 16th. We all know
Mhm.
about that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, months before, when I shared our quadrants history of DC, can we learn about also again this DC Emancipation Day? They were freed. Imagine how DC would be different if those 3,100 people were not freed, because those months maybe made a difference. Some of our lineages could come back to that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We would not be here today if it wasn't for DC Emancipation Day. So let's
Mm-hmm.
take a
Wow,
look
look at
at the
that.
DC Emancipation
Wow.
Act.
Wow, look at that.
So this is going to be I've shared this video before one of our sessions, so I don't think many of us have seen it, but every time I watch it, it's quite fascinating. This is from the U.S. National Archives.
The terms of the April 16th, 1862, the Emancipation Act, required any owner of slaves living in Washington, D.C. to document each of the enslaved persons, give their names, give a physical description of each person, and give an estimated value of each person.
That last one is just, So terrible.
Ridiculous.
Mm.
It established 3 commissioners to hear petitions from slave owners in the District of Columbia applying for payment to for their slaves.
Congress paid slave owners to give up their slaves. That's morally questionable. They knew it, but they felt for this first emancipation, it had to be done.
Yeah, y'all heard what he said. They had, it was the first time. So in their minds, they had to have that incentive in order for folks to even come around to thinking about it. That is what he had just said. And then I agree, morally questionable. That is the most morally questionable thing. But do you see the reasoning why they think they had to do it? Mm.
Mm.
It's something.
Yeah.
I don't have words to describe it, but it's history is something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually hired a slave owner, a slave dealer from Baltimore, who came in and actually appraised the slaves.
This particular record is the slave schedule for the Addison family.
Yeah, just pausing here and just taking a look at this record. See their name, their age, their sex, and their description.
That's ridiculous.
Look, Addison. So if you know any Addisons, maybe.
If some insight into the thoughts.
Like 55 years, 24 years, 10 years.
10 years, 3
9
years.
months. Mm-hmm.
The motivations, the fears of some of the formerly enslaved African American community at this time.
They left this city on the 13th of April last, 3 days before the approval of the said act, because they feared they would be colonized in Africa.
They're the descendants of Africans, but at this time they're several generations removed from Africa, so from their perspective, they're not going back anywhere. They're Americans.
They went to Montgomery County, Maryland, where they remained until the 28th of September last, when they returned here and claimed their freedom under the above-cited act.
I mean, isn't that a story? I mean, right, 3 days leaving before the DC Emancipation Act, because they fear they would have to go back to Africa, and then they moved back to DC from Montgomery County, and then use that act to claim their freedom. That's a story right there.
Yeah.
Some slave owners did not apply for compensation. They did not want to free their slaves. So in July of 1862, at Lincoln's urging, Congress passed a supplemental act that allowed slaves to petition for their own freedom.
There were 161 petitions submitted after the July 12th supplement.
161 petitions. That's something. Look at this. You'll see all the different ones.
To act. Most of these 161.
Look at this one.
Yeah, they had
petitions were submitted by individuals who had
they sure did. I mean,
been enslaved themselves. This record is interesting in that
they wrote them. Most of those folks actually wrote their own letters wanting for their freedom.
Particular enslaved person, Philip Meredith, claims to be the slave of General Robert E. Lee.
The commission.
Isn't that something? Robert E. Lee.
Commissioners who were here in the petitions worked extremely fast. They were in existence from April of 1862 to January 1863.
At the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, we are transcribing the records so they will be fully searchable.
This particular document here is the actual petition that was filled out and signed and presented by Clark Mills, who actually worked on the Statue of Freedom that you see today on top of the U.S. Capitol. His slave, Philip Reed, was the person who actually succeeded in molding that particular statue.
Our digital...
Did you know that the statue on top of the Capitol in that history?
No.
The Sacagawea, right?
Man, I don't pay no attention to that statue.
Yeah, her name was Sacagawea. She was the guide for Lewis and Clark on their expedition.
Amen.
Yeah, the full-size plaster of the Statue of Freedom uses as the bronze statue on top of the Capitol dome. Freedom wears a helmet encircled with stars and topped with an eagle's head and feathers. the talons hanging at either side of her face. So this is the Statue of Freedom. It's a classical female figure. Wow. That is some history right there. Like original design, second design, improved design. That's pretty cool.
Well, it's pitiful for me. They compensated the slave owners and didn't give the slaves.
They didn't give them anything.
Yeah. They had to petition for their own freedom with that mental act.
That you see today on top of the U.S. Capitol. His slave, Philip Reed, was the person who actually succeeded in molding that particular statue.
Our digital site is called Civil War Washington.
Philip Reed, I gotta remember.
It examines the history of slavery, race, and emancipation during the war.
We can see that Clark Mills highly valued Philip Reed and his skills. Like many of...
Look at the amounts. Again, the people, look, 500, 450. Look how much was his.
Lord have mercy.
1,500.
The enslaved persons at that time, I assume that his hope was that...
I mean...
So, Alice, was that based on how many slaves he had?
No, they had shared that the slave dealer from Baltimore came to DC and valued some people, but that's how because of his skills, that's why they valued him at this higher value.
Some cows and horses were more than that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is beautiful.
That time, I assume that his hope was that at some point he would know the reality of being free.
I hope y'all enjoyed that video.
That was good. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Philip Reed, I got to remember that name. Philip Reed.
Did you know that the Cherokee Indians took in a lot of slaves when they got put off of there?
Yes.
Let them onto that.
Yes.
So again,
and that's how a lot of people got mixed up being Indian and or colored or Negro, as they called them back then.
Anacostia was Indian. A lot of blacks stayed right here in Anacostia.
Right, that Potomac River.
Yeah.
But I heard that Mexico, that is off the subject, but Mexico didn't allow slavery down there, that blacks would go down there, but they didn't, because they didn't allow slavery. Did y'all ever hear that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah. You had to learn a new language. You had to learn a new language too.
So we can't be mad with Mexicans.
Well,
well, they mad with us.
Canada too.
We're all a community. DC is a melting pot of culture.
That's right. That's right.
We have people from every single part of life here in DC.
And that's true.
So again, April 16th, 1862 versus the Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863. So that's about 7-8 months of freedom versus pretty much everyone else in the for the Confederate States. Lou, please take it away.
Sure. So Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, January 1st, issued by President Lincoln, declared enslaved people in the Confederate States to be free, but freedom was not immediately enforced everywhere. It's actually not surprising, right? Imagine what communications were like back then. And
we saw that. It took 2 years until 65.
Yeah, and imagine some unsafe, especially it'd be probably pretty easy for a slave owner not to communicate something. Although I don't know what that was.
And that's
like.
what happened in the beginning of the video, Lou. The girl just happened to hear the slave owner saying that they were free, and she ran out that house so fast.
Yeah.
That is so morally reprehensible. You know what I'm saying? But not to them, but us looking at it, that's again, it would have been so much better or more reasonable for it to all happen at once in our eyes. But that's why we're so blessed today, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
This is a quick 2-minute video on the Emancipation Proclamation. I know we've been learning about this document, all of our 30-year-old king agers and queen agers on. So this is a quick video on it.
All righty.
I hope it gives a different perspective.
People who take the U.S. citizenship test need to know some important facts about the history and government of the United States. In this video, we'll learn about the Emancipation Proclamation. In November 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected the 16th President of the United States. Lincoln was against the spread of slavery into the U.S. territories. Many people in the South believed that Lincoln would ban slavery in the entire country. 11 Southern states, which relied heavily on the labor of enslaved people, chose to break away from the U.S., also called the Union, because they wanted to form a new country, the Confederate States of America, also known as the Confederacy. This country would protect the right to enslave people. This led to the start of the U.S. Civil War.
Yep,
At first,
Fort Sumter.
Lincoln's goal was to reunite the country. But abolitionists, the people who were fighting to end slavery in the United States, convinced Lincoln that ending slavery was essential for the future of the United States.
Yeah, Frederick Douglass, Harry Beecher Stowe, William Lloyd Garrison, Francis Ellen Watkins Harper.
On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. The historic document declared that all enslaved people in Confederate states fighting against the Union were free, which was a powerful motivator for some people, but unpopular with others. Many enslaved people freed themselves when they learned about the proclamation. As the Union Army invaded a new part of the Confederacy, they freed any enslaved people they found. To show their support, thousands of black men and women volunteered for the Union. The Union won the Civil War in 1865.
Again, from a previous video, those when they volunteered, they weren't fighting for their own freedom necessarily. They were, in the war, those enslaved folks. They were fighting someone else's war, but not, for themselves. So that's just kind of crazy in and of itself anyway.
Keeping the North and South as one nation. Just before the war ended, the U.S. government ratified the 13th Amendment, which outlawed slavery in the entire country. The Emancipation Proclamation contributed to ending the Civil War and began the process of abolishing slavery in the United States.
So again, a quick video on the Emancipation Proclamation. Again, notice when most of these videos, when they talk about the proclamation, they don't talk about DC. So I hope that was helpful, and just that quick history showcase and just how it took time for things to happen, unfortunately.
And part of that was because we weren't a state.
We're still not.
Yeah.
We're still not a state yet, but
still can't vote for the president.
Right, but again, if it wasn't for us not being a state, we may not have had DC emancipation.
Yeah, probably true. I did. Go ahead.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that those southern states made so much money. I mean, generational wealth that some of that money still hasn't been touched today. I mean, they just made so much money off of slavery, and still don't want to share in the dignity or the monetary in this country. But I digress.
No, we hear you. That's so true. I mean, that's.
And then the other thing, why are we paying taxes and we not a state? Why is we paying taxes?
You can't even mention reparations. People thinking it's a joke,
Yeah, it's this. It's taxation without representation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That started the Tea Party up in Boston.
Yeah.
Taxation without representation. Well, buddy. I'm a leader. Again, I digress. It gets on my nerves. It gets me worked up, but
I did some side research on Mexico and Canada during part of that. And it looks like both countries did have slavery, but they just abolished it earlier. And then it says it really held on in the United States because of these plantations making so much money. And that's what, why what they were saying, why we were so late in this country to abolish it when our neighbors had abolished it decades earlier.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's why when we learned during Black History Month this year about Harriet Tubman and her freeing her family and moving to Canada, and where her sisters had families. That's the place she was at before moving to New York, where she later passed.
Yeah.
So,
That
yes.
lady was smart.
Yeah.
She sure was. I loved learning about that. I'll never think about Harriet Tubman the same way. Lou, please take it away.
Sure,
Why
yeah.
Juneteenth happened?
By the way, it sort of makes you think about how, maybe money is the root of all evil in some ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
The way it held on. But even in Africa, the way that they created a market for tribes to capture other peoples, because the Europeans created a money market for captives. I mean, it was all about money there too. So why Juneteenth happened? News traveled slowly in the 1860s. I can only imagine. Many enslavers withheld information. Some people remain enslaved long after emancipation.
Everything we've been taking a look at. I hope everything is just coming together. Like, I know it's, decades of history, but I hope everything's like coming together. I know it could be a lot, but I hope you all are, just the gears is turning, the puzzle pieces are put together.
So they saying that our vote don't count because we live in DC to vote for a president?
We can vote for the president.
It's just they don't count, but we can vote for them.
But what you voting for?
What is the purpose of us voting if it's not counting?
If it don't count, thank you, Doris.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
For that particular, and because we're in DC, but we're gonna move back. We're gonna move back to
But you know what, Alex? But you know what, Alex? A lot of people doesn't know that.
Well, I'm glad that we had Rank the District on. Kenyatta shared some great info with us that day. So,
wow, I ain't know. Oh, wow.
We've just wasting our time voting and they ain't counting.
Yeah, and it's not counting.
Taxation without representation.
There you go.
So Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, June 19th, 1865. Freedom was announced to enslaved people, and celebrations began immediately.
Oh, DC, we're here at DC.
So DC's connection to Juneteenth. Washington was where emancipation laws were passed, Lincoln signed key documents, and national policies on freedom were created. So this is really the center of it.
Have you all heard of Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I heard.
I don't know why you haven't. They had her on television and everything.
Yeah. We're gonna honor her today by reading more about her history. So yes, I was not aware of Opal Lee for a very long time. So Lou, I'd love for you to read through this and of course hear your thoughts as well.
Sure. If you can make it a little bigger, my eyes.
Oh, yes, I got you, Lou. So
that's a little shot. So who is Opal Lee? Well, the story behind the grandmother of Juneteenth.
The grandmother of Juneteenth. Share what you're learning. Ask people this week. Have you heard of the grandmother of Juneteenth? And see what folks know.
Here's some key points.
You'll skip that? We'll save it. We'll save it.
So who is Opal Lee? Well, Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth, is a woman of remarkable vision, unshakable determination, and boundless compassion. The legacy created by her resilience echoes throughout the nation, reminding us all that one person's unwavering commitment to justice can change the course of history. Her journey stands as a beacon of hope, and a call to action for generations to come. Born in Marshall, Texas in 1926, Opal Lee credits her superb work ethic to her mother. Lee graduated from high school at the age of 16 and went on to further her education at Wiley College in Marshall, Texas, where she earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education. In 1960, she returned to the classroom to achieve her master's degree in counseling and guidance from North Texas University.
I mean, she's just amazing, just right then and there. I mean, 1926, she graduated at 16, so that was 1942. I mean, that was Depression, time and all that. So it was, that's amazing.
Amazing. A career rooted in education and community for 24 years, she worked with children in the Fort Worth Independent School District as a teacher and a counselor. She poured into the lives of children in the area and saw firsthand the many different walks of life and struggles her community went through. It was here that Lee truly understood what it meant to love your neighbor. As a lifelong educator, let me see that. Oh, there it is. As a lifelong educator, I know that what we teach today shapes tomorrow. So if people can be taught to hate, they can be taught to love.
Yes.
Amen.
When is her birthday?
Oh, not sure. But she was born in 1926 in Marshall.
So 100th anniversary is like somewhere.
Today, I mean, this year. Yeah, 1922.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what her birthday is.
Someone Google it. Oh, there, Alex.
October
Was
7th.
it in October?
We should have a celebration that day, Alex. October 7th. Is that a Wednesday? Is that a travel show day? Let's check it out. The defining moment, 1939 Juneteenth tragedy. Like many, Lee's celebrations of Juneteenth as a child were private celebrations with family and friends enjoying each other's company, good food, and the remembrance of a pivotal moment in our nation's history. That was until June 19th, 1939, when the beloved holiday had to share the day of terror with the Lee family, when a mob burned their house down during their celebrations. That became the day she and her family would never forget. However, it wasn't a day that silenced her. From educator to activist, after Lee's retirement in 1977, she shifted her focus to bettering her community. She helped advocate for those experiencing poverty and homelessness in the community. She became a founding member of the Tarrant County Black Historical and Genealogical Society and began her role of planning Juneteenth celebrations for her community. Thus began the chain of events that would lead to a very important moment in the United States history. I don't consider myself a civil rights person. I consider myself a grandma and everyone else's grandma. And I expect you to listen when I tell you something. Grandmas are very special. Aren't they special, Ron?
Yes, they are. They always been special.
Grandma, what is it with grandmas, right? They have so much love.
Grandmas didn't play. They don't play.
They don't play. They have so much
They're
love.
Smart.
They
do.
And they got wisdom.
And they learned a lot of lessons.
And they teach you a lot. They taught you a lot.
They love and they love their grandchildren to death.
They sure did.
I'm going to say, don't forget they spoil you.
Yeah.
Oh, and October 7th is on a Wednesday.
Huh?
Oh, well, wonderful.
What is it about grandmas? Grandmas are so special.
So let's go into DC. We learned a little about our history. Take a look at this, y'all.
One more thing about grandmas. I just turned to grandpa. I am way more burned out than my wife. She's got like a whole another gear that I don't have. Ron, I don't know if you feel that way or the other guys on the call, but those grandmas, they got a whole set of gears beyond what we got.
And grandma will spoil you, but she'll put a coat of wax on you too. Grandma can buff you real good and hurt your feelings, and then hug you later.
And my grandma made me special because all of them had to go out there and work in the tobacco field.
Oh my gosh!
And she let me stay in the house and help her in the house. I was so glad.
But guess what? We'll never get mad at our grandma, though.
Not grandma.
All right, guys. Well, sorry for diverging there about grandmas. So the moment to make Juneteenth a national holiday. In 2016, at the age of 89, Lee started her campaign to call for Juneteenth's recognition as a national holiday. She started her journey walking from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C.
Texas to DC. I mean,
Unbelievable.
at
Oh my
89.
God.
At 89. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Each day she walked 2.5 miles to symbolize the 2.5 years enslaved people in Texas waited to learn they had been freed in the Emancipation Proclamation.
Mm.
She was strong and resilient in her efforts. Along the way, she gathered a petition of 1.5 million signatures to present to Congress. After a lifetime of work and 154 years after the good news reached Gallatin, Texas, Lee watched as President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth Independence Day Act on June 27, 1921, or excuse me, 2021. Wait a second. When was that walk? When was that walk?
Yeah,
That was recent.
I
That was
remember
recent.
about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
back in 16.
Yeah.
2016. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
yes. There's this year they did another, not this kind, but another walk for those American Indians. Yeah, I think.
So that
I remember that. So I mean, this was amazing. Again, 2.5 miles for the
that's
two and
like
a half
5 years.
years.
It would take him five. How many years? I mean, that's got to be 1,200 miles minimum. Minimum.
Yep.
That's like how long are we talking? How many years is that? That's crazy. That's like 4 years.
So we had
No,
strong.
yeah, she did walk. She did walk 300 miles.
We had
Oh, okay.
strong. We
Yeah,
had
and she walked. There was, I
black
guess there was
women
other
back
things going on,
then.
but I mean, that's so
Yeah.
amazing right
It's so
here. So,
amazing. So amazing.
yep. So
All
again,
right.
1.5 million signatures, Juneteenth Independence Day Act, and this is the last paragraph.
Lee shows us that change is
How many
possible at
days
any age, and that the
believe
power of history lies not just in remembrance, but in action. Her voice, her footsteps, her love of community forge a path towards national recognition and healing. In recognition of her impact, she has received several honorary doctorates, including Southern Methodist University, Texas Christian University, and Wiley University. Her life reminds us that even the deepest pain can be transformed into purpose, and that the fight for freedom, dignity, and truth must continue with every generation. Wow, is she still alive? I mean,
Yeah,
what?
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, it sounds like she's still alive from what she's saying.
Yeah, could someone Google it?
Yeah, she's
Opa,
99 years old.
She was alive last year, and I don't know if she
No,
died in the last year.
no, she hasn't passed. She was born October 7, 1926. She's 99 years old. She will be 100 years old in a few months.
In
And
October.
where did she live at?
Texas.
She's from Marshall, Texas.
did someone say it's October 7th is her birthday? That is a Wednesday.
Yes, it is a Wednesday.
That
Yes,
is a Wednesday.
yes,
Okay,
I hope.
I'm putting that in my reminder for you, Alex. We got to do something special that day.
Yes.
All righty. Okay, Lou, please take it away.
All right. Got to get off my Google there. Building new lives. After emancipation, African Americans founded schools, built churches, and opened businesses, strengthened communities. Solidarity Day, the rally at Resurrection City.
Yeah, I know some of you know about Resurrection City.
I don't know.
Right here in DC. Anyway,
I don't know about it.
Okay, Lou.
I don't know about it either.
Let's take a look. So
they set up tents all over the mall.
You know about
all
it, Ron.
over the mall.
I remember.
So we're gonna take a look at this article, okay? So Lou, please take it away. But y'all got it right on point.
I remember the torrential rain.
On June, you're a young man back then. It was 68. On June 19th, 1968, a long-term anti-poverty demonstration known as Resurrection City reaches its high water mark. On Solidarity Day, over 50,000 people flocked to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. to protest, sing, hear speeches, and demonstrate on behalf of national legislation to address the plight of the American poor. Today is really only the beginning, Reverend Ralph Abernathy tells the crowd. We will not give up the battle until Congress of the United States decides to open the doors of America and allow the nation's poor to enter as full-fledged citizens into the land of wealth and opportunity. On May 1968, poor people from all over the country came to the National Mall and made temporary homes in plywood shelters creating a settlement they called Resurrection City. The protest began less than 2 months after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. and grew out of the Poor People's Campaign and the Campaign for an Economic Bill of Rights, both of which had been major focuses of King's at the time of his death. The goal was to convince legislators of the need for laws that would lift poor people of all races out of poverty and to sway public opinion by making the plight of the poor impossible to ignore. Protesters came from all over the country. Caravans drove from as far away as Los Angeles and Seattle, while a freedom train brought people from Memphis, and one group from Marks, Mississippi rode mule-drawn wagons. Oh my God, I never heard of this.
Yeah,
Have you heard of the Poor People's Campaign, Lou?
No.
No.
Yes,
I've heard of it.
I
Yes,
never
this
heard
is.
of it.
I remember going down there. Was right after I finished from Howard.
Oh my gosh, what did it look like?
Yes.
What did it look like?
It looked like a city. I mean, they had tents everywhere.
Yes.
Oh my
Let's take a look at this
People
quick
were living
video
down
right
there.
here.
Yeah,
All right.
they had.
Dr.
Look at that,
Martin
look at
Luther
that.
King Jr. Before his assassination, the legendary civil rights leader added a new and ambitious mission to his cause, eliminating
y'all.
poverty.
Yes, again, right before his death, he wanted to help the poor.
In late 1967, Dr. King announced the Poor People's Campaign.
Yes, MLK is associated with the Poor People's Campaign, 1968. Does that ring any? Again, I know y'all are aware of this at the time. Poor People's Campaign.
Designed to raise awareness
Look, no more crumbs on the table.
That's right.
Time is now.
about the millions of Americans living in poverty. Dr. King began organizing a massive protest in Washington, D.C., but was assassinated only weeks before he could see his plans realized.
Isn't that sad? He was before he passed. He was murdered before he could.
And I had the opportunity to see that room where he was at in Lorraine when we went on a
The Poor
trip with
People's
my
Campaign,
cousin.
however, continued, and in May of 1968, demonstrators began construction on Resurrection City.
Look at that! Like, all these
a
people.
community of some 3.
Look at that! Look at this picture.
Yeah.
This is what it looked like, Lou.
Yeah, that's what it did. It sure did.
City, a community of
all these people on the mall.
That room is still empty. That room is still empty.
That's why it's called Solidarity City, Resurrection City, Solidarity Day, Resurrection City.
But the rain so
people
bad.
living on the National Mall.
Look at that! They were in the pool.
Oh
on the
my
National Mall.
gosh! Look at that!
Look at this picture.
Oh my gosh!
Look at that!
Its mission
They were playing, beach volleyball.
Simple.
To dramatize the fact that people are forced to live in the most inhuman situations because of their poverty.
The protest embodied Dr. King's legacy, the power of nonviolent action to promote a more equal society.
Resurrection City.
Mrs. King spoke there.
Yes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she spoke there. Robert Kennedy. There was a Mother's Day march there. Robert Kennedy was involved. Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Yes.
The mayor. Oh my gosh! Wow.
I mean, it was a powerful and peaceful day of activism.
Yes, it was.
Yes, but they were there were rocks thrown at them, and then they were finally, the police moved to evict them. They fired tear gas. They rounded people for their arrest. But again, this was a time where one of the largest and most sustained social justice protests in the history of the U.S. right here in Washington, D.C.
And we should be so thankful how we've been blessed that we didn't have to go through all that.
Every single day. Every single day. I'm glad that you learned about it today. I learned about it too myself. Doing
well, I was right down there in the midst of it.
Yes.
A voice for freedom. Frederick Douglass, abolitionist and civil rights leader, lived in Washington, D.C., advised President Lincoln, and advocated for equality and voting rights.
Just wanted to highlight Frederick Douglass. And if you haven't visited his house, please visit his house.
It's right up the street from me. I've been there several times.
Juneteenth traditions.
Common celebrations include family gatherings, music and festivals, community events, and traditional foods. DC federal recognition, 2003. Juneteenth became a city holiday in 2003.
Did you know that? Did anyone know
Right.
that?
No.
You know, 2021 is the regular, national federal holiday, but yes. And take a look at what I found here in the DC Register archives, the actual resolution. So,
Oh, good
Lou,
job,
I'd
Alex.
love for you to take a read through,
Oh,
please.
wow, that's amazing. I was going to say we had the iPad contract during that time, and I can't remember. It was before 2021, so I guess we would have had the day off then, right? If it was a city holiday. To
Yes.
de
So, look, resolution June 3rd, 2003. Please take a look through.
Yeah, to declare the sense of council that June 19th to be recognized as Juneteenth National Freedom Day. Resolved by the Council of the District of Columbia that this resolution may be cited as the Sense of Council June 19th National Freedom Day Resolution of 2003. The Council of the District of Columbia finds that for more than 137 years, Juneteenth National Freedom Day has been the most recognized African American holiday observance in the United States, also known as Emancipation Day,
Right.
Emancipation Celebration, Freedom Day, Juneteenth Independence Day, Juneteenth National Freedom Day, commemorates the survival and through the strength and determination of African Americans who were first brought to this country stacked at the bottom of slave ships in a month-long journey across the Atlantic Ocean, known as the Middle Passage. Approximately 11.5 million African Americans survived the voyage to the New World. The number that died is likely greater. For more than 200 years, African American slaves were subject to whipping, castration, branding, rape, and tearing apart of their families. Even though slaves in the District of Columbia were emancipated on April 16th, 1862, and later that year, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation abolishing slavery in all areas in rebellion. The existence of slavery in the South did not end until June of 1865. Juneteenth commemorates the day that freedom was proclaimed to the last slaves in the South by Union General Gordon Granger on June 19th, 1865. Juneteenth, June 19, 1865, is celebrated annually in more than 205 cities and officially recognized in Alaska, Delaware, Florida, Idaho, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Texas, Vermont, Washington, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Interesting. So even before DC recognized it, all those states. See, but I lived in Washington State during that time, and I don't remember us having the day off or it being celebrated. I don't get it.
Oh, that's why I love DC. We get Juneteenth off.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing I always thought about, I always trying to wonder, how was we the race that they selected to make us slaves?
Oh, that's a lot of history to that question, Ms. Doris. It was just
Well, actually, I might be able to answer that because I was just at the origin of a lot of that, and I could pull it up. So and I hate to blame it on the Catholic Church, but they do have some blame.
Pope Leo.
It was Pope Nicholas in 14 something or other came down with an edict, and it was in favor of the Portuguese government that basically gave the Portuguese the moral right to enslave. I could pull it up. I actually have it on my phone.
okay.
And that sort of began the whole thing. Terrible mistake. And I'm Catholic, terrible mistake.
Yeah, I am too, and I was very upsetting.
At different times. There isn't just one single pope who ended slavery globally. Instead, several popes issued decrees, known as papal bulls, against the practice, while others historically permitted it. Most notably, Pope Leo XIV made history by issuing a sweeping, formal papal apology.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Lou, I think you are on number 5.
Sure. In 1997, the United States Congress adopted a joint resolution recognizing Juneteenth as the true Independence Day for African American citizens. Americans of all colors, creeds, cultures, and religions and countries of origin share in a common love and respect for freedom, as well as a determination to protect their right to freedom through democratic institutions. Juneteenth, along with the 4th of July, completes the cycle of freedom for America's Independence Day observances. Until all are free, none are free, is the oft-repeated maxim that can be used to highlight the significance of the end of the era of slavery in the United States.
Until all are free, none are free.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the date, District of Columbia Register. I mean, this is a actual document, and it was right here in DC. I mean, this is a history right here in our faces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so thank you all so much for participating. We're gonna end off with some things that you could do this weekend because there's again Juneteenth, first day of summer, Father's Day. There's a lot of other stuff going on too. So tomorrow there's a ribbon cutting at the New York Avenue Medians in front of the National Museum of Women in the Arts. So there's a free event there tomorrow from 11 to 1. There's a rooftop concert downtown at the Sandlot, so you can see their Black Passion Band live. And there's food, and you can explore the monuments. On Juneteenth, there's the Freedom Celebration at Anacostia Community Museum on 1901 Fort Place Southeast. We learned about that museum in our Black History Month sessions together. It's a full day festival, so it's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. There's DJs, workshops. It's a free event. There's a American Indian Museum solstice celebration throughout the weekend. The National Museum of African American History, is honoring Opal Lee. So it's a free event from 11 to 4. There's a community day. There's a Juneteenth story time for kids, line dancing workshop, art making station. There's a lot of FIFA, it's World Cup time. So I know you've been talking about that, Ronald. There's a lot of watch parties going on. There's a Juneteenth poetry reading at Busboys and Poets in Tacoma. Lincoln Theater has a Juneteenth celebration. This one is it's a paid event at the theater. Same thing with this one there's a party wine tasting on Jefferson Drive. This Saturday, there's a bike ride next to the American Community Museum from 10 to 11:30. So that's a family bike ride through Ward 8. There's the Home Rule Music Festival from 12 to 9 on Saturday. So there's go-go jazz, hip hop, Solar Seed, DC, and the Next Gen Crank Band will be there. There's the Pride Parade going on Saturday. Make Music Day in Georgetown. Also next to the French Embassy, there's a music day. Sunday, there's a Birds and Nature guided forest bathing experience. That looks fun. So I'll share this link in the chat. But there's a ton of Juneteenth, ton of summer activities to do in DC. Mostly free, some paid, but you can really find a lot of good places to go and celebrate Juneteenth.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks, Alex. And Alex, by the way, I pulled up a couple of sentences on that papal decree. I found it in my things. If you don't mind, I can read it real quick. It sort of marks the beginning of this tragedy. It says, Dum Diverius 1452, issued to King Alfonso of Portugal. This bull, which was an edict from the Catholic Church, authorized European powers to invade, capture, and subdue Muslims, pagans, and other non-believers, and to reduce them into perpetual slavery. So that sort of marked the beginning. And in speaking of Mexico, as I read, in the beginning in Mexico, the Spanish were enslaving the Indians, but so many of them died from smallpox. It like wiped out 90+% of the Native American population in Mexico, that they then turned to Africans. And of course, it was abolished decades before it was abolished in the United States and Mexico, largely because Mexico didn't have that large plantation culture that was generating so much money as it was in the U.S. All right, anyway, that's my little tidbit. Thanks, everybody. Great job, Alex.
Thank you.
So what can we learn? What can we learn, Lou? Lou, are you there?
I'm sorry, I just searched distraction. What can we learn? Well, Juneteenth reminds us Freedom matters, history should be remembered, progress takes time, and communities grow through shared stories.
Thank you all so much for attending our Juneteenth celebration and honor, and I hope it makes you think, a little differently about Juneteenth and history and what had to happen before for us to enjoy all the blessings that we have today.
Well, thanks everybody. That was a
Thank
great
you.
show. Great show.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you
October,
all. Thank
informative.
you.
Thank you.
October
Everyone
7th,
have a great
Alex. I'll be
day.
watching.
Let's say Happy Father's Day
October
too.
7th. And
Happy
Ron
Father's
and all
Happy
the other
Happy
guys.
Father's Day.
And all the other
Happy Father's Day,
guys.
Lou.
Mo.
Enjoy your weekend.
You
Thanks,
too.
Good weekend, Lou. But
Thanks.
I'll see
Alex,
you
Thanks,
all at
call
Alex.
me after
1:30.
you get
All
off the
right. Take
program.
care. Have a great day, everybody.
Okay,
Have a
Bye,
see
great
you an
all.
hour.
day.
Well, that's another 26 minutes. Okay.